I will not bring it in. I know that people are still on YouTube, on Twitter. Our Twitter is not shaking. Judge Money C. So we go back to Facebook right now. Upon going back to Facebook, we are going back to YouTube as well. Yes, we are back on YouTube as well. So let us continue. I believe now I have to bring those I believe now I have to bring those videos through the phone. Let me play the video through the phone so that we will not experience any other reason to drop us. Now I want you to see the protest. I want you to see the protest, where they started and where they started shooting at people. I want to show you on the phone. Now I want to make the volume, bring the volume to be high. Now let's play it.
Women, men, everybody in Abia State is here live and direct, protesting for the immediate release of Mazen Nnamdi. People are shooting and shooting. So angry members are protesting.
Have you now seen? I had to get it from the news, the media house. This is not media house powered by IPOB. I had to get it through Nigeria Media House. That is where, but it is speaking in our dialect. That is where I was able to extract this video. So, because of time, I will not be able to actually extract the full video because it is the beginning of the video, then he speak about the video, he tells you, then he play the video, the full video of it. So I want us to understand that whatever we are going through, that the Nigeria government has done everything humanly possible to make us to resolve to anarchy. They are calling us to go to, to resolve to anarchy because that is the reason why they are killing our people while they are protesting. Why would they shoot at peaceful protesters? What happened at Lekki Tollgate in 2020 is actually a great evidence towards that. Are you paying attention? It is important evidence. It is something, this thing that happened in Abia State. It is actually the history that is repeating itself. And the whole world knows that Nigeria shoot at their peaceful protesters. And that is the reason why I brought this to our people to know that you cannot stand for someone to shoot you just like that without you actually finding a means possible to defend yourself. That is the reason why during the time of NSAS, you were advised to, if it is a petrol bomb, you make it, as long as you find a way to live. Because your right to life, no one can actually violate it. It is not at anybody's disposal of power to violate your right to live. So now, it is now time for our people to know how to defend themselves. If our people are protesting and police start firing at you without any cause, as long as your conduct is peaceful and constitutional, you must repel against this police, because these are not police, they are terrorists. They are not police but a terrorist. Because according to the Universal Declaration, right to life must be protected, and according to the Constitution of Nigeria, right to life must be protected. There is no constitution that stated that no one has a right to life. That is the reason why judiciary is set up to determine who is actually wrong and who is right, who is a criminal and who is innocent. That is the reason why the judiciary is there. It is as a result of the executive manipulation towards the judiciary. People are protesting against that move by the government. Then the government sent police to go and shut down the people from actually protesting. Now, I want you now to contextualize this to what the DSS said a few days ago. Do you know what the DSS says few days ago? The DSS is doing and selling even disinformation. They are bringing out a disinformation in order to make sure that IPOB or you as obedient does not actually protest against the rigging of election, which the judiciary is actually also indicted. Now I want to read the report from the DSS. This report, it says, DSS confirmed plot to install interim government. They confirm plot to install an interim government. The reason why they bring out this report, it is only when they hear that there is a protest that IPOB might be organizing protests. That is the reason why the DSS bring up this report, in order to make sure that our people who will protest will be shot at. Now we are going to find another means possible that we are going to, exercise and make our grievances known to the public after this. Now, by Sonny Daniel John Alechunu, this is a Vanguard newspaper. Now, I read, Abuja, after many months of rumors that a section of the political class was planning for interim government in order to truncate the result of the recent concluded general election, the Department of State Service DSS formally confirmed yesterday that the plot was real. Did you hear that? They confirmed yesterday that the plot was real. Spokesman for the DSS, Dr. Peter Afunanya, who disclosed this, they used the Igbo person, who disclosed this to report it, they use Igbo person to report it, who disclosed this in a statement, said that the agencies had identified some key players in the plot, but did not give the names of the masterminds. The agency said the planners of this interim government had already held several meetings, during which there were many options to actualize their plot, including sponsoring endless mass protests across Nigeria cities, securing a warrant to declare a state of emergency or court injunction to stop the inauguration of the executive and the legislature at the federal and state level. That is the report coming out from the DSS dungeon. It is the report coming out from the DSS dungeon. The reason why I am bringing out this is for you to understand that they are doing everything to justify what they will do to people when you come out to protest. That is exactly the reason why they presented this before they made this public, before they sent police to go and shoot at Biafrans who are peacefully conducting their protest, lawfully conducting their protest without actually disturbing anyone or any businesses in Nigeria. Rather, they started to shoot at the protesters so that they will never come out to protest. This was what they placed in order to justify their action. Remember that when Femi Fani-Kayode used this line as, he used it as a kind of political, will I say it is campaign, or they were being insecure that after buying all the votes they are going to buy, that something will happen and they will not get into that power. That is the reason why he made this statement. Of course, there is a plan to make sure that Islamic State is declared in Nigeria. There is a plan that is put in place to make sure. But now, when Femi Fani-Kayode made this allegation, the DSS called on him and drilled him to the extent that he came confirming that he's not supposed to make such statement. And today the DSS, because they have been bribed, they have to come out to say, because they have seen all the court proceedings against their president-select. They have seen the court proceeding from their obedient movement, or they have seen the indictment on their president-select. So they decided now to find a way to make sure that they sell a narrative that will prevent people from exercising their grievances, that will make people not to come out to protest in order to demand for what is right or what is rightfully theirs. That is the reason why, as a result, they decided to make this disinformation public. To make this their disinformation public. Because as far as I'm concerned, this information is not actually motivated by a proper investigation conducted by the State Security Service, the DSS. It is actually promoted through somebody who is complicit and bringing this in order to use it to truncate every exercise that is going to be conducted by the ordinary people on the ground to show their grievances against this government that is being selected into office, which was not the decisions or mind of the people. So they want to topple upon everything that will make this selection not to happen. They now started bringing out this because they know that IPOB has been planning a protest across the globe. They know that the protest is coming to Biafra land. We protest in our various countries where we are domiciled. No one is being shot at. We protest everywhere around the world because of our peaceful conduct. No one was shot at. But the same peaceful conduct, we use it to protest in Nigeria. We will be shot at like animals. Which is now very important that our people must re-strategize. Our people must re-strategize. If you want to go to protest, make sure you have a plan B to defend yourself. You have a plan B to defend yourself. Because it is called a self-defense. If you have the same weapon that police who want to kill you, when you are having a peaceful conduct, you must make use of such weapon to protect your life because you have the right to live. Not even police has the right to take your life without taking you through, without presenting evidence in the court of law that you deserve to die. No police has the right to do so. So now, they say that the illegality is totally unacceptable in democracy and the peaceful loving Nigeria. This is the peaceful loving Nigeria. They call Nigeria peaceful loving. That is the lies that they perpetrate. The lie they will present to the world. They call Nigeria peaceful loving Nigeria. Even more, This is even more so that the machination is taking place, or the machination is taking place after the peaceful conduct of the election in most part of the country. Now, did you see where they indict themselves? After the peaceful conduct of the election in most part of the country, which means the election was not peaceful in every part of the country, which supposed to nullify the elections and the vote in such part of the countries, but the opposite is the case. This is the same thing that they say in most part of the country. So there are places where there was ballot box snatching. There was places where people were not allowed to vote. There are places where people were actually intimidated, forced to vote against their opinion. So this nullifies the democratic process, which was called the election. It nullifies it, because the whole Nigeria must vote, must have the right to determine whom they want to be their leader. So if some part of Nigeria was deprived of that right, the election must be nullified. The election, either the whole election is nullified, or that area will conduct another election where security operatives will be present to avoid any sort of intimidation. But the opposite was the case. That is the reason why you see clamor across the zoo country called Nigeria, because people are not happy with the decision. Now you saw people protesting in Abuja, because these are the people who were seen as the indigenous people, which are Nigerians from the north, protesting in Abuja. They were not shot at. And I showed you and I told you, let it be people protesting in the eastern region of Nigeria, they will be shot at, because they are not part of Nigeria. They don't have right to protest. Now, even if they are not part of Nigeria, which you force them to be part of Nigeria, they still have right to protest as foreigners in Nigeria. Because all this protest that is happening across the world by IPOB, it is actually, we are not part of this world. We are visitors in this world, but we protest because there is a right to protest. But in Nigeria, we do not own such right to protest. We will be shot like an animal. So any protest that our people must, go, they must have a plan to protect themselves in every means possible. It is not a crime against any law of any country. You have the right to protect yourself during a peaceful protest, because it is your right to do peaceful protest without resolving to anarchy, except if need be. And the need must be something that is threatening to your life, which is police shooting at you without any provocation, without any cause. It is the need for you to stand up and defend yourself in every means possible. To defend yourself, to make sure that you stay alive to tell your story. That is it. And now let's go back to it. Now they can also engage with civil society to present, okay, what you can do. They can also engage with the civil society to the president's attempt to undermine. Okay, I think I missed something. They can also engage with civil societies, organizations, and the media to raise awareness about the issue and call attention to the president's attempt to undermine the rule of law. Ultimately, it is up to the legal and political institutions of the country to ensure that the judiciary remains independent and free from interference, and the citizen can hold their elected representatives and leaders accountable for upholding democratic value and principles. Have you now seen the right you have to hold your president responsible? How do you hold them responsible? You challenge their decisions through a peaceful conduct, through a peaceful protest, through awareness of a peaceful conduct. That is how you actually show your grievances, that you do not accept what they are doing. The same thing is applicable to the Britain, which we saw happening in recent days. That's past month. The same thing applied to France, which we saw the massive protest that happened in Paris and other part of French country. The same thing applies to Kenya, when you saw the massive protest going on in Kenya, and I believe the protest continues in Kenya. The same thing is applicable to you in that Nigeria, that you have the right for a peaceful protest. And what leads anarchy? What actually is the drive of anarchy during a peaceful protest? It is the provocation of the state security, the provocation of the government, the security. If the security decide to intimidate you in order to stop the peaceful conduct, now it resolves to anarchy. Because people gave the power to whoever that they are protesting against. So they have to be, these people must be held to account. And for them to hear your grievances, it is through a peaceful conduct, or through a peaceful gathering, through a peaceful march, which is the protest our people embarked upon a few days ago, and they were shot at like animals. So how do we now, how will Nigeria government justify their action against our people? Now, that is the reason why they bribed the GTI. They bribe IEP to place IPOB in the global terrorist index. And upon that bribe, people got hurt, because people were, for them to be deprived of demonstrating and exposing the activities of this dictatorship regime called government in Nigeria. Now, I am going to leave it here, because I have actually sent the message that you need to pay attention to. Each time you come out to protest, you must make sure that you have a plan B to protect yourself, because protest is something that no one has the right to take it away from you. Under democratic dispensation, no one holds the right to take away protest from you. It is your right as a human being, and it is now up to you. Before you come out for protest, make sure you have plans to protect yourselves in case of any eventualities or any excesses coming from the government that you are protesting against, because you have the right to live. No one can take that away from you. It is a message that you have to understand. It is a message that governs your right to live. There is no country in the world that people are actually intimidated for peaceful conduct and peaceful protest. No country in the world except Zoological Republic called Nigeria. If we say that it is because Nigeria is a third world country, what is Kenya? Is Kenya a first world country? Why were people protesting? For days, people protested in Kenya. Were they shot at? The answer is no. If they say that African countries are not, or leaders are not liable to ICC intervention, why is African countries liable for exploitation, of the Western exploitation? Why is African countries who want to enact a law that they do not want LGBTQ queer communities being opposed by international bodies such as Uganda? Their latest development in Uganda, which Uganda fears sanction, because They want to enact a law that criminalizes the LGBTQ community. And United Nations was actually up, advocating, interfering to make sure. So now, have you now seen the reason why? When they say that it is depend on the countries to actually make sure that these laws, international laws and treaties, uphold in their various countries, that there is no institution that enforces this law, except you take it through the ICC, International Criminal Court. But since there is no institution that enforces this law, why does Uganda fear sanction for criminalizing LGBTQ activities in Uganda? Why are they threatened? Why are they threatened? Now you will understand that these people, they act in a situation where it benefits the Western, agenda. If you look at it, Nigeria, we see people are being shot at, people are being killed, people's rights are being violated on a daily basis. There is no one who rose up to talk about it in this international community. But immediately when Uganda want to pass a law that criminalize gayism and homosexualism, they stood up to challenge it. Why? Does it mean it is said to criminalize? It never said to kill. It never said to kill. So there must be an amendment to the constitution, which constitution will be amended by the legislatures. This law will not, they will not wake up, or president will not wake up and decide. It is as a result of consultation with the legislatures, and they come to a resolution that this act must be a criminal offense in that country. So it means that there was some changes in their constitution which criminalized this such act. Now, the United Nations interfered. Every other international communities, they came in, they advocated for these communities. Now, it is not. I want to now ask you a question. Between people who are protesting for the rule of law to uphold, between people who are protesting for their vote to be counted, now I want to ask you, those are the people who are being shot at today without any cause or provocation. They were not holding any gun or any ammunition. They were being shot at. They did not defend themselves. So who, between this law, it is a law that is made, which somebody can actually escape this law by doing something that the law is against. But international community made it the headline on CNN, Al Jazeera, every news channel carried it. But when we report that peaceful protesters were being shot at, no one carried it. Now, what could be the potential reason of them promoting this law against people who cannot be able to multiply or have children? They are promoting the law that is against people to do some type of practices that will not enable them to have children or to multiply, because for a country to be great, they need the number, they need to, fertility rate to be high. Just like America is actually promoting, trying to make sure the fertility rate, especially the European communities in America, their fertility rate must start growing again. So now they are now trying to undermine a law that is enacted in one of these second or third world country, as they portray you to be, that criminalize such act, that when you practice it, you will not grow your numbers or population as a nation. They are now started kicking back against such law, but they are not kicking back against an act whereby people are being killed in a broad daylight in front of the camera. They are not promoting the law that is against killing people without any provocation. They are not promoting the law that is meant to promote human right and right of exercise, or the right for people to exercise their human right activities. They don't promote it. Why? So now bring me to a question. Does it mean that they promote this LGBTQ with an intention to make sure that the numbers in your country is put in check? The number of your population does not grow as it's supposed to be growing naturally, because if you see the activities of this LGBTQ, some people are not into this. They were introduced to it one way or the other. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. Like I said, it is up to them to believe in their self-determination. But it is also up to the, people, majority of the people, to determine whether this is, a safety, a secured exercise to the community. It is up to the people. Not necessarily up to the government. It is up to the people. That is the reason why when it be resolved that it is a difficult decision, a referendum must be conducted. Now, if they are promoting, making sure that these people, okay, let me complete what I was saying. That these communities, sometimes they introduce children through raping them. It is something I have heard, stories that people have told. In real life, it is not because I am exaggerating. People tell these stories in mainstream medias. Now, that they were raped as a child. When they were growing up, they were raped as a child by somebody who is a male to male. They were a boy who was raped as a child. When they grow up, they will start promoting such things because they were introduced to it. Their status was actually violated, and because that is the reason why, as a minor, they could not figure out what was going on. Rather, when they grow up, they will continue in that regard because of how they felt at that moment. And at the end of the day, it has a rippling effect on these individuals when they grow up, because it might boil down to the extent that these people will be remembering the incidents, being traumatized all over again by the incidents that took place when they were very young, which causes people to have even dementia, or will make people to be what do you call a medical condition which work on your psyche. People being bipolar. It is, all these things can make you to be a bipolar, because so many people does not know that they are bipolar because of the exposure they encountered during their young age, during during the time when they were minor. They will grow up with this traumatic event. No one will take them through it. No one will rehabilitate them. They grow up with it. That is the reason why you see so many people killing their children. That is the reason why you see so many people beating their children to death. That is the reason why you see people, when they beat their children, you will think it is frustration. It is sickness. Some people in Africa, when they beat their children, you will think it is frustration only. It is sickness. It is a medical condition. They might be bipolar. They don't know how to control it when it is filled up in their mind, like boiling. They descend on whoever that is around them. Their mood swings at any given time. So that is exactly as a result of their encounter during childhood. And this thing is a lot in LGBT community. It is too much within the LGBTQ community. It is not as if it is not with those people who practice heterosexual. It is also there. But at the end of the day, now bringing it to context of what we are actually discussing, the LGBT community have their own disadvantage in a community. So it is up to the community to actually determine whether it is good for them or not. That is where the majority comes in to take the vote. Now, these things that the majority of the community need to determine whether it is going to stand as a law or going to be decriminalized or criminalized, it is now paid more attention to by these international communities. Other than the people's life being made short by the government of the day, which this government is supposed to go through a process of international criminal court. But they will not go through international criminal court because the international criminal court does not see the atrocities that takes the life, that cut the life of the young people or individuals in this second and third world country. They don't see it as a crime because that is the agenda of the West, to promote what will keep your populations in check and promote things that will systematically obscure the increase in your population, such as LGBTQ, because in as much as people are fighting for their right, a reality of it is that they don't reproduce because it is same-sex practice. Both of them are same-sex. Their gender is same. So they cannot reproduce. Rather, they will now be only them. Now, other people can reproduce. Normal people, or will I say straight people, can reproduce, increase the population of the nation. Now, you are now prioritizing people who cannot reproduce to bring number to society more than the lives of the people who are already reproduced, that makes the number of the society. Is that not an injustice? So if we say that the international communities, they choose what to pay attention to according to the way it will favor their agenda, you are not wrong to say so. You are, in fact, very, very accurate. The way things stand now. Now let us go to religion. Let us go to religion, which is part of the crucial thing that we are here. Because I don't want to stress this topic because I don't have much time anymore. Going to religion. I want to those religious fanatics. I am talking to those religious fanatics. Those of you who call yourself you are Christian, Those of you who call yourself you are Islam, those of you who call yourself you are atheist, those of you who are actually believing in the religion more than the founders of the religion. Those are the people that I am going to be referring to right now. And I want to direct them, and I want to teach them, and I want to bring history and how those religions were being promoted by those who place you as a first and second and third world country, to make you to become fanatic towards something that you do not understand the origin of it or the reason why it was put in place. It is actually exactly what we are here. We are up for now. So we are going to now we are going to make sure to be universal about it. We are not going to be affiliated to any religion or to undermine any religion while I am doing this teaching, because I have seen that this teaching, this is something that people find it difficult to understand when people like people find it difficult to understand when people decide to start showing you the loopholes. The loopholes in some of these religious practices. You decide to make them your enemy. Just one moment. So sorry for that. Sorry for that. My time is up because I believe the Sabbath is over. So my time is up. We have to go, and attend to one or two things. So, but talking about this religion, I want you to know that the religion we are talking about, we are bringing to you how religion, what religion has been used to do to our minds. That is exactly what I want to bring to you. The role of religion during colonization of Africa. The role of religion during colonization of Africa and during crusade. Now let me bring it universally. Let me tell you, are you aware that religion has historical, been used as a tool for colonialism by some imperial powers? Are you aware of it? Now let me bring you to it. Let me actually bring you to what it does before we break it down. This is referred to as a cultural imperialism, where a dominant culture imposes itself upon another culture in order to assert political or economic control over it. One way that colonial powers have accomplished this is by using religion to justify their takeover and control of foreign lands. However, it's important to note that religion has also been a powerful tool for resistance and social liberation against colonialism. In many instances, the relationship between religion and colonialism is complex, and it's important to approach the topic with an open mind and willingness to learn more about different perspectives. That is actually where we are going to bring it. Now let's break it down. It says that religion played a vital role during colonialism. Now, if religion, or let us bring it to the one that concerns us the most, if Christianity played a vital role during the time of colonialism, and they use it in a means to gain control, to justify their gaining control and mugging you and taking your resources by force and implementing a law that will justify and will not incriminate what they are doing. They use religion to actually appreciate that. Now, when you look at it, when you talk about the Western colonization, the Western colonies, when I talk about Western colonies, it is the countries that were colonized by the West. You talk about Christian religion. The countries that was colonized by the West, you talk about Christian religion. In Christian religion is the reason why, is part of the reason why we found ourselves being under, mind captivity. Why? Does not mean that Islamic, during their Islamic, when they were crusade, every crusader came with a religion. Let me break it down. There was 8th crusade that, if I am not mistaken, there was 8th crusade that took place in this world. 1 to 8th crusade, which is 1st crusade, 2nd crusade, 3rd crusade. There was Arab in crusade. Now, they came with Islam. Now you ask yourself, those areas where they came with their religion, in order to use it to propagate their own belief and justify their action against you, the people, and the sole owners of the land, they came with Islam. Then the Western crusade, they came with Christianity. They came with Christianity. Now, the reason why I'm making this program, for those religious fanatics to understand that there was something you were doing pre-colonialism, which they use this religion to replace, so that they will sell their narratives. There were some cultures that looks like Christian religion, which they use Christian religion to replace. But if you go deeper into such cultures, you will understand that it is about the book of Christianity that this culture is built and deep-rooted on. Because the book of Christianity is somebody's culture. Now, that is the reason why, if you go through the history of the Bible or the scroll, which was written, the reason why it is called a scroll, it was written on the skin of animal during the impactation, or during the time it was written from Egypt. During that time, the only people that produce such material were the message of the Bible were written first, which is seen to be a scroll. It was produced in Egypt, only produced in Egypt at that point in time. So that means the people who were in Egypt wrote such book. And who were the people who were in Egypt pre this invasion or pre-crusade? Who were the people in Egypt? They were black and brown people who were found in that region or in that area. Black and brown people. That is the reason why when you make your way into the pyramids, you will see the paintings of such people. Actually, the paintings in Egypt, they use paintings to tell their stories. They use paintings to actually keep their history. Now, if you go into the pyramid, you will see the people. If it has not been manipulated as we speak, you will see the color of the people that built the pyramid, the color of the people that wrote these stories. They make a pictorial story in order to tell their story, their history. Now you see it, they are black and brown people. And during those days, this is exactly the same people who wrote the Bible. And they wrote the Bible, it is their good norms and value system and the impartation of God wisdom towards mankind, and they write it as a way and the laws that will govern them, that they must abide by. And this law kept them in uniform. This law unifies them. This law makes them to abstain from crime. This law brings the morality of these people, between one another to be very, very, to be promoted. Now, when the colonialists came, they went ahead, they took away this written law. They took away this written law. It is a written law, it is a written constitution, it is a written prophecy. That is the reason why the Old Testament today, so many people does not believe in it because they don't understand it. Now let us continue. They took away these written laws. They took away this good norms and value system of the people. They went and studied it. After studying it, they brought it back after some years. And that is why they said, because when they brought it back and start preaching with it, they took it, removed some books from it. That is the reason why when you get Apocrypha, Bible called Apocrypha, you will see many books that was taken away from the regular Bible that you are using, or regular King James, NLT, New Revised Standard Version, and all that. You will see the books that was removed, that was part of the Old Testament before it was taken from our people in Egypt. Now I define the color of the people who were found in Egypt during 700, that time 700 and something BC. DC. The people that was found there before the invasion. So they took it out. They took it over. They studied it. Because wherever the people go, they go with that book. Wherever they go with such scroll. Now when they studied it, after studying it, they returned it, they started using it to nullify your own means of religion, which was deep rooted in the original book which they took away from you. In the original book which they took away from you. Of course, while the original book they took away from you was being promoted pre-colonialism, the people who are pagan, that was the reason why there is freedom of worship in the whole world. There were people who were pagan. That's why, according to your lineage or your bloodline, you know what you are supposed to worship. Whether you want to be a pagan or you want to be believer of God the Creator. When Moses went to the mountain to search for the face of Chukwu Okike Abiama, by the time he came back, people lost hope because they saw Moses as what? That they are God. And they always want to believe in what they see. They made Egyptian ways of worship. They created for themselves the Egyptians' ways of worship, which is creating a picture or an art that signifies whatever they want to worship. They make an art for themselves to signify what they want to worship. Remember when Moses came down, Moses condemned that. Does not mean that during that condemnation, when Moses was condemning that act of paganism, which the law says that you should not have any god except me, or make for yourself a graven image made by cement, made by wood or timber, made by iron, made by anything, and you should not bow down before them. We don't see that in the concurrent religion that is actually we are very fanatical about. We don't see it in Roman Catholic. We don't see such things in some of these churches, that they are bowing down towards such things that the same Bible, which this religion is supposed to be deep rooted into, but contradicting the same Bible that tells the principle on how to go about this particular religion. Now, are you now understanding it? Because the Bible says you should not bow down to any graven image. Any graven image made by cement, made by carpenter, made by sculptor, made by iron benders. You should never bow down to them or worship them. But they were brought to you by these people who came to take away your right as human being, who came to take away your right as African. And they replace original means, way that which you present your case to the Creator. They represent it. They actually nullified it, replace it with their own ideology that promote their own philosophy, or promote that promote whatever they are coming to your country to do, or promote what they are coming to do or achieve in your country. That is the reason why it is called a systematic way of stealing. That's what they do. When you steal systematically, it might not be noticed by many people. It can only be noticed by the people who are in the system, who understands the system. So that is the reason why they bring it as a systematic way of impoverishing your mind or placing you in a mental slave in order to promote their activities. Just one moment, I need to attend to something. One moment, we are going to get welcome back. Oh, one moment. So, now, sorry for that interruption. Without you knowing the agreement and the arrangement and the plans for them to manipulate what you know as your own, that is creating a faction of it. Creating a faction of it in order to use it to promote their selfish practices. And while keeping you busy, because they know that if you practice such religion the way you practice it pre-colonialism, that you will actually have that information, that because it is written unto you through that book that these people will come and they will overpower you. It is written through the same Bible, Deuteronomy 28. So many of you read it, but you don't want to understand what it says there. It tells you the prophecy of them coming, that they will take you for slaveries and they will put a yoke of iron on your neck. The same thing that happened to our people. It is the prophecy that came with that Bible. But when they return this Bible, they tell you that if you want to hide the truth, put it in a book. A black man will never understand it or actually, look for it. Because they know that they manipulated the book. They studied the book. They brought it, write it in their translation. How did they manipulate it? They did not change they did not change the text. But they removed the ones that are obvious to understand. Now, which is like, there are many books that was removed. Book of Enoch was removed. The book of, there are many books that was removed. Book of, there are some text of Solomon that was removed, there is a book of Moses that was removed, which is called the 6th and 7th book of Moses. They were removed as well. It is called Science of the Bible. The 6th and 7th book of Moses, if you have been exposed to it, it is called a science of the Bible. Believe you me. Let me show you something. Just one moment. Let me show you something about the 6th and 7th book of Moses. It is the science of the Bible. Let me show you something about it. Just one moment. I want you to see. You see this? What did you see here? This is the 6th and 7th book of Moses. And there are some texts from this that I actually printed. There are some texts from this that I actually printed. I want to show you such texts. I want to show you such text that I printed from it. So because I printed it to show you what it is all about. Pay attention, pay attention. I want to show you something. You see in this text, they have what is called magic. You see, magical art. I don't know if you are following. It has what is called Moses magical art. Now, there are, inside this book of Moses, you will see, physics. You will see chemistry and their law and their science. You will see such things. Do you see this? You see these things. They mean something. And this is, some of the things that they have used in order to make you. Some of the things they have used in order to make you lose focus. They remove this text. They remove them. I want you to see the inside this book. You will see the ones that is called the magic of Moses. You will see what is called the magics of Moses. Pay very good attention to it. And it shows you the prayers of Moses and the prayers of Solomon. It is also in this 7th book because it actually has some books of Solomon. Let me show you. Did you see what is written here? These were part of the books that was removed. So before you actually ask yourself, or before you become fanatic about Christianity, you need to ask yourself, why was every original things, some of them, especially the real things that are very, very, that is rooted in culture of those who own the real religion that they have created the faction called Christianity. Why were many things removed? Now you see that during the story of Moses, you saw when Moses did. You see this? These are the things that human being, when they look at it, they need to solve it in order to, to do one or two things that will help them. But in all these things, you cannot, what they teach you about these things, they tell you it is evil book. A 7th book of Moses, whoever that reads 7th book of Moses, he is a diabolic person, he is an evil person. But the opposite is the case. These were the books that came with the scroll. When they took away the Bible, when they were bringing these things back, what did they bring with it? They bring it in their own languages. And how surprising it is. Through their languages, you wrote your own language. The owners of the text in that book, they now present it through their own languages. Now you need to interpret their language back to your own language, because you did not interpret the original book in their own text. You interpreted them from their own languages when they must have brought it and interpreted it to you. Have you now seen that Christian religion is a faction of religion that those who believe in it practiced before pre-colonialism, before colonization? It is what you used to practice before colonization. They now build something similar, but to weaken the power in your own belief system. that governs you, that keeps you in peace with your creator. They manipulated it, they censored it in their own understanding. They presented it to you. They now represented Jesus with blue eyes and the Akomo guy. They presented it and used it to replace your own. So this is a general context or general definition of some of this religion. Likewise, Islamic religion. There were, these people that are called the Hamites. Some of them, most of them are the Hamites. Oh no, sorry, not the Hamites, the Ishmaelites. Those Ishmaelites, they have their own original religion and belief system, which they, during the invasion of the Arabs, they now selected something, they used to do. They censored it in a way that it benefits their own invasion. It benefits and justify their action of invading other lands. And they bring it up to be a religion. All of them, as long as it is called a religion, they have their loopholes. So you don't have to be fanatic about such religions. You need to go through the history to check what this religion looked like before you become very fanatic about it. Now I am telling you exactly what these religions look like. Just like you see in these religions, there is magic. There are things that Moses did with so many people, because it is in the Old Testament. There are many things that occurred. There are many things that happened to our people. They don't want to bring it because it will now explain your pre-colonial belief system and culture. They removed it and used the ones they have translated, and they use their text to come to you to tell you this is how you will understand this. They wrote it in their own understanding, because even with their own explanation, they just interpreted it. But it is a coded words that Bible is written up with. That is the reason why it is said that Bible is written in a metaphor. So that metaphoric words that it is written on, you need to actually decode them in order to understand them. How do you decode them? By putting precept upon precept. By making sure that you trace all the Paul's letter and bring it together. By making sure that if you read it, if you see it in this New Testament, make sure you check out, you think about where it reflected in the Old Testament. For you now to be able to have the full knowledge of what you are engaging with. Not to just be blindly fanatic about such religion that was not created by your own people. It was brought to you. And now you have come to find out that those who brought this religion to you, that they are not practicing it the way you are practicing it. Because they brought it specifically for you to keep you busy, to live your good norms and value system given to you by Elohim. And they replace it with a faction of it. Faction of it. I want you to make sure you understand that path. Faction of it. Christianity, Islam, and all that. It was given to you by your colonialist. It was brought to you by your crusaders. So, in this regard, why do you say you want to die or live and die for the sake of something that played a role in colonizing you, for the sake of something that played a role in impoverishing you, for the sake of something that played a big role in making sure that your raw materials are not owned by you or utilized by you? Why do you want to die for such things? Because religion is a business. It is a business. And the more the more you understand it quickly, the better for you and your generation. It is people's business. So in this people's business, for you to make sure that they don't exploit you in their business, you don't have to be fanatic about it until you research and find out how was this thing pre-colonialism. Before they colonize you, before they come into your land, how do you practice such things? Or have you made peace that everything before colonialists came, before white man came to Africa is irregular? Or no, it is unjustly done because of the stories that came with it. When they tell you Mongo Park discovered the River Niger, Meliseleso stopped the killing of twins, you agreed all of a sudden. Meliseleso stopped the killing of twins, and the other person stopped the killing of albino. So in this regard, you agreed that it is something that actually makes what they bring to you nullify what you have before they came. Without you knowing that during that time you practice your good norms and value system, there are other people's belief system that is being practiced within and around you. But your own belief system, people adopt other people's ways of lives. Like people will go to India today, they become they start practicing it's either they become Muslim or they become Hindustan, or they become Tamil. It is a religion that you can adopt if you wish to. Now, the reality of life is that there was a religion, there was a culture which they baptized and called religion. There was spiritualities that you believe in that is actually deep rooted in the original Bible before they took it away, that you were practicing before they came. And after they came, they took and they studied this Bible, they brought it in a different teaching, in a different way of understanding, in order to promote their own business. They said it by themselves. That's what I just read for you. Let me read it again. They said it by themselves. Let me read it again. Religion has historically been used as a tool for colonialism by some imperial powers. This is referred to as cultural imperialism. Have you seen now it was replaced with your culture. Religion has been replaced with your culture because your culture is your religion. Now, it is referred to as a cultural imperialism, where a dominant culture imposes itself upon another culture in order to assert political or economic control over it. One way that colonial powers have accomplished this is by using religion to justify their takeover and control of foreign lands. However, it's important to note that religion has also been a powerful tool for resistance and social liberation against colonialism. In many instances, the relationship between religion and colonialism is complex. Now, why is the relationship very complex? Because during the time they will oppress you, or when Britain was killing our people during Biafra War, they sent people who were called the NGOs, missionaries. Those were not the people, they sent them to actually, that is when they are killing you, they will be the one to be killing you. They will be the one to send these people called the missionaries, so that you will see the missionaries are the people who are doing good things, without knowing that these missionaries that you see, they are in one way or they are systematic setup in order to promote the agenda that is actually killing you. The agenda that is the reason why they have to kill you, which is making you believe that this particular formation of culture, they are the best people in the world. They are the people with humanity in the world. That is the reason why they call them missionaries. Rooted under Christianity, they call them missionaries. But it is coming from the same people who are killing you. For you, they kill you first. They bring the missionaries to butter you up. To butter you up and give you food, give you one or two things. They will tell you, don't do this again. You know that God is against you retaliating. God said that if they slap you here, turn the other side to slap you. Don't retaliate. They will be buttering you up while instilling their, domination, moves on you. They will be buttering you up as if they are helping you. But they are the same people in the other way around killing you. They were called missionaries. Today they have been replaced with NGOs. It is no longer missionaries. It is now NGOs. Have you seen how the manipulators started? They have to first of all beat you up. And they have to call these people called the missionaries under Christianity to come and tell you sorry. And they give you food, we are sorry for beating you. So that you will see them to be the rightful people, the most moral people. People with high moral values. That you may forget your own. And they will find a way to demonize your own. They will find a way to demonize your own. That is exactly what these people were doing. And when you think about this book, you will think about this book as a book of pagans, that it is book that the pagans are using. But this book is taken away from the same Bible that you are using. And the reason why it was taken away, and very, very difficult to find it. And they preach to you that there is this, there are many stories that was told about 6 and 7 book of Moses. They say if you read it twice, you go mad. They said the people who read it are the people who are disappearing in the night. There are many teachings, there are many conspiracies about this book that was taken away from the Bible that you call the book of Christianity. Is it not laughable? It is laughable. When you read it, you find out there are many science. You find out where they derive the power of science. How they started practicing and manifesting, miracles, making miracle to manifest through science. It is in this book. It is in this book. Even how Moses did all his miracles. It's in the book. Why was it removed? Because they don't want you to know the power that you possess as the owner of the book. They cannot translate it. No matter how much they translate it, it will come back having those science in it and those drawings, which teaches you about the negative part and the positive part of it. Now, have you understand now the reason why you cannot be fanatic about any religion that you are affiliated to? It is like taking an oath to support something that you don't know when it was formed, or you don't know their activities, because they showed you what it looks like and you believe in it. You took an oath and you start promoting it. It is about those who are promoting religion and tell you they will die for this religion. While we are fighting for freedom, they're using this religion in order to, this religion, they are using it to actually set us back. To bring, when this religion comes in, what it does, it causes division. You know, whenever this religion we are talking about comes in, it causes division. It causes so many, things that will make you deviate or question the primary activities that you have embarked upon. Because so many people will be questioning IPOB. Are you against the Christianity religion? That some people make a statement, nothing will stop Christianity in Biafra land. Christianity will be the best reading religion. We are not arguing that. But before you present this argument, have you gone through the history to actually tell yourself, to educate yourself on how it looked like pre-colonialism? Because colonialism is the reason why you found yourself amalgamated with Nigeria, which you people never loved each other. You never actually come along with each other. They put you together, and now it is the same people who put you together to this, predicament, are the same people who teach you how to be a good person. How can somebody who took you for slavery, beat you up, actually sleep with your children, your wife, in front of you, put a yoke of iron on your neck in a slave ship? How can they bring you something that will, that will give you a better life in the life that we don't see? They tell you if you die, you go to heaven. If you abide by their own philosophy or teaching of the Bible, but not originally the teaching of the Bible. That is the reason why you are not supposed to allow people to read this Bible for you. You read it yourself, meditate on it. Don't read it as a spirituality. Because when you read it as a spirituality or spiritual book, you will be looking for a spiritual being to analyze it for you. Which pastors makes themselves available that they are the spiritual being to analyze this Bible for you? Are you now seeing how manipulative it is? It is a systematic way of oppression, systematic way of impoverishing people, systematic way of keeping people busy with particular thing while exploiting them through such thing. That is the way it is. Facebook is doing everything humanly possible to make sure we do not preach this gospel. But this is where I am going to leave these religious issues. There is a video somebody sent to me, but I am going to talk about it. But I believe that I didn't want to tell you, I don't want to go into details telling you that this religion is like this, that religion is like this. If I want to give you an example in conclusion, I will tell you, why do they use Islam? And if you read the book in Islamic book, you will find where it says in Surah 3 verse 9, it says that it talks about infidel. In Quran, it talks about infidel. I believe Surah 9 verse 3 or 3 verse 9. It talks about infidel. How you must treat an infidel. People who does not believe in what you believe in, they are infidel. How you must treat them. Now, it does not talk about it. It didn't say that you must be violent against these people or kill them or slice them into pieces. But the people who brought it to some people use that path to justify the killing of other people, telling you it is a holy war. Now when you come to Bible, even though Bible say that, he will send Jesus Christ to come, he will say, according to the Bible, they call him Jesus Christ there because it is a translation. It is how they actually wrote the text back to us. They took original text and wrote it back to us through using their translation to manipulate so many things. Now they say that the one they call Jesus Christ came and he died Therefore, there will be no more law. There will be no more law. You ask yourself, people who live without a law, how will that place be like? There will be anarchy. There will be, crime. Every corners will become, criminal activities, because these people, they are lawless country. Lawless country. No, now Christianity teaching and their manipulated faction, or the faction of it, tell you that this Jesus Christ context made away with the law and said there will be no more law in the land. That you do whatever you want to do, the way you want to do it, that you will be judged according to the grace. What does that entail? Does it make sense to you? And now, they quote the Bible out of context, because there is a place that said Jesus Christ came, or whoever they call Jesus Christ, that have impersonated, the same way they actually form a faction of Christianity, of our religion, they call Christianity, our culture, and call it Christianity, the same way they form a faction of the man they call Christ, because that is a faction of Christ, which is impersonator of Christ, which Matthew said, many will come in my name to say they are Christ. They don't read it and explain it to you in a proper manner. Other than this white Jesus from Europe, has anyone ever come to you to say they are Jesus? Is it not only this white Jesus from Europe? Think about it, what the Bible says. The same white Jesus is what you bow down and pray to. The same white Jesus you use cement and molded and bowing down to, with the long nose. So why are you being fanatic about something you don't know? Because some people who gather themselves, call themselves pastor, priest, prophet, preach to you that this is the way, the truth, and the life, when it is the destruction, the death, and the oppression, instead of telling you what it is. The practices of all these things, that the faction that they have created, replacing our own good norms and value system in the name of culture or spirituality, they call it different names, religion, Christianity, this and that. It contradicts itself. It is self-contradictory. If you read the book that they use to propagate it. So that is the reason why you need to go back. Study that book. Because the reason why many people are telling you that when they tell you Jesus doesn't exist, Jesus does not heal, you will become mad that they are insulting your religion. These people were born into that religion because they were colonized. They were the part of the colonies. They were born into the religion, but when they were growing up, they were making research about what is the role of this religion. Some of them, while making the research, they will do their presentation in a manner that it will actually make you mad, because it is not what you grow up hearing. And I want our people who are preaching against this white Jesus with blue eyes. This generation might not understand this. These grown-ups might not understand it. It is the children that will pick it up and make more research and find out the truth about it. Not this grown-up generation. They were colonized through it. And they are still suffering that colonization through, the religion practices. They told you that the man who come and die for you as a black man was a white man. But the man who come to exploit you in the name of colonialism is still a white man. The same white man. Don't you think they have replaced the man who died for you with a picture of a white man in order to use this picture to confuse you in the name that a white man from Europe is doing you great, while you, a black monkey, is a sinner and must to be placed in a zoo in order to make sure that you don't sin too much. That's why they have to own your resources, own everything that is that you inherited from the land that God gave to you. Control it, manipulate it through dollar. Now you have been exposed to that dollar is falling. There is a new world order going on. Because even Brazil want to start making their trade with their currency. It is bringing down of the dollar. Chinese want to front their yuan to use it for oil sales, because what keeps dollar alive is oil sale that is done on dollar. That is the reason why whoever that owns this dollar can sanction you, because every sanction they laid a place on you, it is because of the strength of the dollar. They did all that in order to be above you, to control you systematically. That is the power of neocolonialism. It also reflected in your religion or belief system. So when the people who are teaching it understand these factors, understand or research about and see that this religion is doing this to you, they might not know how to present it to you. They will be radical about their presentation that you will get mad, because it makes you mad. It makes even them mad. That's why they will become radical about it. And they will even speak some things that, contradict their own, philosophy. Which their philosophy, there is a lot of truth in their philosophies, but because of their emotion attached to the truth that they just found out, they present it. Some of them will burn down the Bible, thinking Bible is their problem. When they tell you that Jesus does not, heal anybody, it is the truth, because the one they present to you as Jesus is not the Jesus that God gave to you. It is the Jesus that came to kill you, to steal from you, to destroy you, which is the Satan that they have used to replace the Jesus that died for you. His name was not Jesus. So they used Satan to replace the Jesus that died for you. Many will come in my name to say they are Christ. They are Christ, not Jesus. They now made it Jesus Christ. They gave it a name that suit it. And some of you are willing to die once you mention the name Jesus Christ is a fraud. People want to cut off your head. People want to, do many things against you because you say that the name Jesus Christ is a fraud. Of course, the name Jesus Christ is a fraud because of the image they are showing you. It is not the image of the real person who played that role during the time of our ancestors who believe in God that Jesus Christ came from. The real man that this Jesus Christ is impersonating came from, which is called Yeshua. He was a human being. And they make you to believe that this Jesus Christ context is a spirit. He's not a spirit, he's a human being, he's an activist. He's an activist, he's a philanthropist. That's why he fed many people who were hungry. He's an activist, he's a philanthropist, he is a freedom fighter. He wanted to redeem his people, to the extent they have to kill him in the process of redeeming his people. The same way they have killed so many people who woke up and start advocating for the freedom of black nations. They were killed. So that's how it is. They don't like us preaching this topic, so they can even bring this number to 0. I can assure you. They don't like it because they know it is the truth. It is the truth. And I am trying to, okay. I believe I have actually cleared it up. So we're going to leave it here. We are going to leave it here. Unfortunately, there is a video that was sent to me by one of the comrades, and that video I might not be able to actually play, talk about that video, but I will make a short video about the video and post it in my page. I will make a short video about those videos. There are 2 videos. If I start analyzing it, I will miss out on so many things because I have been here for more than 3 hours, or So I will not go to analyze that video right now because it is a video of a Yoruba man talking about the sit-at-home declaration by autopilot criminal syndicate. And they extended the conversation, which this conversation actually somehow became intimidation towards Ndibo and become a threat towards Ndibo. So we are going to actually bring it back, and then if we have time we will present it again. But I don't know if that comrade is watching. If he is watching, he can actually call in. If he is watching, you can call in. If you are not watching, of course you wanted us to talk about such video, but unfortunately what we talked about exhausted all our time, so we will not be able to talk about it right now. Or do we still? Okay, I think let me see what we are doing here. Let me see what is going on here. Okay, 2 hours ago, so 3 hours, we have been here for 3 hours, so we can no longer continue with it. Let us go to, do one or two things, and we will be back again tomorrow. We'll be back again tomorrow in order to continue. That's when I am going to have time to analyze such videos. But great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, I want you to understand that such topic we have done today, it is a topic that any media houses will never allow you to hear, because it is a reality. But they will call it disinformation, they will call it inciting violence, they will call it all sort of name. But I want you to know that it is a reality of life. But until we meet again,